All right, good morning. Good morning. What is going on, everybody? Let's get this up on Instagram as well. Good morning. Hope everybody is doing well. Hopefully, everybody had a solid weekend. We're live. We're live. What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for hanging out. Good morning to you. We got a lot to get into in this morning's show, Monday, February 10th. We got a lot going on. A lot going on in the world of sports. A lot going on around the Lakers, some chatter about the Super Bowl. We got it all. So thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Take a quick second. Reward yourself with a sip of coffee or tea, whatever it is that you're enjoying on this fine morning. Quote of the day here real quick. Let me throw this out here. Let's see what we got here. It does not matter how slowly you go, so long as you do not stop. Does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. Solid quote right there. Solid quote right there. All right, let me give everybody a quick rundown. What we're going to be doing for this morning's show. We're chilling today, kicking back. I don't have any meetings right after anything like that. It's like, no, we're just going today. Granted, the whole I'm going to go till 9 a.m. I think has happened probably 2 or 3 times total. But we'll be just enjoying the show and we'll go from here. All right, for those who are hanging out for the first time, thank you very much for doing so. If you guys don't mind, please subscribe to the channel. Past 30,000. What are we at now? Take a quick look here. I was looking last night. Let's see where we're at here. We're at 30,019. Man, I appreciate it. Phenomenal. Over 2,000 new subscribers in the last 30 days. So thank you very much for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of the Skalij show, the post-game show when I do it. So I just want to say thank you real quick. I appreciate it. I was hoping to get over that 30,000 mark, and I think got there a lot faster than I thought we would. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Let me give everyone a quick rundown what we got for the show today. Then we'll get the show started. Luka Doncic will make his debut tonight. All signs are pointing towards him making his debut. ESPN again is like, let's grab that game here real quick. They tried grabbing Saturday night's game or Saturday day game. That actually was a phenomenal game. It's kind of funny. I didn't think there was going to be much energy at the arena. Saturday was fun. Place was rocking. So Luka make his debut tonight. This is kind of interesting because there's a little bit of a balance of just wanting to see Luka. And then there's also, oh, yeah, you know what? The Lakers are actually playing some really good ball right now. And hopefully they can keep winning. Hopefully this isn't a distraction of winning. So we'll talk a little bit about Luka. Mark Williams trade off. You guys saw it on Saturday night. I put up a video that talked a little bit about it. So I got a couple angles on this, to be honest with everybody. There is definitely a couple angles to take on this. So let's hit on it, because I think there's a lot of people that are really down that the trade didn't happen. I think there's a short-term feeling, and I think there's a long-term feeling, at least for me. I don't think it's the end of the world. So bear with me on this. We'll get back to it on Mark Williams. It's almost like that trade literally didn't happen. So whatever assets you gave out are coming back. You're going to be seeing Dalton Connect come back, and they're going to be at the airport. Dalton, we always loved you. Center options, I'm already starting to see some names out there. Potentially Lakers, what kind of guys Lakers can get in the buyout market. None of it's going to be great. They obviously already had in their mind what they were hoping for that center spot. So that's going to be different. We'll talk about JJ Redick today as well. If you're not a fan of JJ Redick, then do not be a part of today's show. Do not be a part of it. Redick is killing it. And I want to talk about JJ Redick. So we'll do that. Super Bowl, Eagles dominate the Chiefs. I could have watched paint dry and been more interested in that Super Bowl. What an awful Super Bowl. Awful. Now, I did kind of tell everybody I got the Eagles. By far the most complete team in the league. We'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. We'll get the weekend recap going, and then we'll keep things moving from there. Thank you all for being a part of the show. Thank you for hanging out. For those who don't know as well, before we get the show started, I did start, and I'm going to put it here in the chat. It's also in the description below. I started members only. Phenomenal way to support the channel. It's a great way to support the channel. It's $3 a month. Basically what I'm saying, buy me 1 cup of coffee a month, and I'll make sure you get phenomenal content over the rest of the month. I am going to have exclusive content just for members down the road. I'm going to have some Q&As with members, special emojis, kind of some inside jokes. We're working on it right now of how that's all going to be part of the memberships and everything else. But we're already, I mentioned how great it was to get to 30,000 subscribers. I'm not that far from getting to 100 members. And I just mentioned this a week ago, very kind of casually. Trust me, if you are a member, I will make sure that you get value with that membership. I'm very appreciative of anybody saying, hey, I want to invest in Skalij and what he's doing with the channel. So to be a member, if you want to be a part of it, it's an MVP member. It's $3 a month. And I put it there. There's a link there. There's also a link. If you just go on my YouTube, there's links everywhere of how you can be a member. Let's get the show started. I appreciate you guys hanging out here. And I want to try to get to some of these comments here real quick before we get going. Good morning, brother. Salute, Slee. Good morning from San Diego. Ivan, good morning, buddy. Hope you're enjoying SD. Good morning. Top of the morning, Slee. I got a couple in here that were ready for Luka. What else did we have here? What else? Blessings all the way from New York City, my brother. Thank you very much for tuning in. All right. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Congrats on 30K. Thank you, buddy. Thank you about that. I appreciate that. All right, let's get the show started. Luka Doncic tonight. It's such a weird feeling right now with the Lakers because I got to be honest with everybody. I didn't think they're going to be winning like this. When AD was still a Laker and you knew that he was going to be out for the next, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. They said they're going to reevaluate him in a week, right? This is when he was still a Laker. And you're like, all right, well, if he gets reevaluated in a week, that doesn't mean he's going to be back in a week. We start looking at the schedule. You're like, all right, you got the Knicks coming up. You got the Clippers coming up. Okay, those are going to be 2 L's. Can you just keep your head above water before you get to the All-Star break? Okay, then the trade goes down. We all know what happened with the trade. Lakers lose Anthony Davis. They lose Max Christie. They get freaking Luka Doncic. Okay, but Luka's not coming back right away. So there's going to be some games now that you're playing where Luka's not there, AD's not there, Max Christie is not there. A lot of excuses you can line up for the Lakers. A lot of them. Then you find out on Saturday, LeBron and Luka aren't playing. Indiana's in town. The Pacers, who took on the Clippers on Thursday night, they've been balling out. Okay, give them a lot of credit. It's like, well, they're not going to win today. Can you go 2-1 in your final 3 games before you get to the All-Star break? They freaking beat the Pacers. Austin Reeves drops 40-5, and they beat the Pacers. So now you're looking at this team, and this is kind of where I'm getting to here. If there was going to be just a ton of excitement on just Luka making his debut, Luka's going to be in a Los Angeles Laker jersey tonight, and they're going to be introducing him in the starting lineup. And there's going to be some highlights where Luka's throwing some dimes or he's stepping back and hitting a 25-footer in somebody's face. That's going to happen tonight. But I think the part that I hope doesn't get lost, because here's what's happened with the Lakers over the last 2 weeks, really over the last week and a half. So much shit has happened. AD out with an injury. What are the Lakers going to do at the trade deadline? What are the Lakers going to do with a big? AD and Max Christie traded. Luka now a Los Angeles Laker. They trade for Mark Williams. Mark Williams trade rescinded. It's not happening. And then here we sit today, 2 games before the All-Star break. The one thing that's being lost amongst all of this, and I get why, obviously it is. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. Luka's going to be playing tonight. All the attention is going to go to Luka. The one thing getting lost in all this, Lakers are balling. They're playing phenomenal basketball. So the question tonight is going to be, and luckily for the Lakers, they got the Utah Jazz, a team that I think is 12-39. They're a half game in front of the Pelicans for the worst record in the entire Western Conference. Houston won last night, so they moved up, even though they've been struggling. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. Lakers 31-19, Houston 33-20. If Lakers win tonight, they move back to that number 4 spot and would be about a game behind the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if Denver's playing, so if they're playing tonight or not. So I won't pay attention to that. With Luka coming, with Luka on the way, with how exciting and all the attention that's going to Lakers basketball right now because of Luka, that next chapter, what's it going to look like, all that stuff. Lakers are 31-19. They've won 9 of their last 10. They've won 11 of their last 13. They've done it without LeBron. They've done it without Luka. They've done it without AD. They've done it without Max Christie. They've done it really without a real big. I mean, it's just been incredible to see what's been happening. And with all that said, Luka's making his debut tonight for the Los Angeles Lakers. So 2 things I'm hoping to see in Luka's debut. I want the excitement of, oh my gosh, that next chapter is about to start for the Lakers. I want to see one of the best players in the world be one of the best players in the world. I want to see what it looks like with LeBron there, with Austin Reeves there. What's J.J. Redick going to do as far as his rotations go? I want to see some of these guys that are just bringing phenomenal energy like Jared Vanderbilt and Dorian Finney-Smith, and go down the list of some of these other guys that have contributed. But what I also want to see when the dust settles, they keep winning. Because right now they're winning without a number of different players, and they've got to this point, 12 games. It makes no sense that they're 31-19 right now, but they are. So I think it's been easy to kind of lose in the shuffle for how great the Lakers have been playing. I think it's very, very easy to look and say, okay, well, all this has been happening. There's an excuse here if they're not winning. There's an excuse if they're not playing well. There's an excuse if they're taking L's right now because of their situation, their predicament, guys that are in, guys that are out, guys that got traded, guys that didn't get traded. There would be an excuse for them right now to be playing 500 basketball. They're not. They're balling out. So I think tonight it's going to be incredible to see Luka. It's going to be incredible to see a next chapter, but I also don't want to lose the attention of what the Lakers are doing and where they've been and how successful that they've been. So that part to me is, obviously phenomenal, and it's something to keep in mind. Okay, keep things moving here. So we got Luka coming tonight. That's going to be fun. I can't wait. It's always kind of fun to see this. It's always fun it's like over the years, right? Whether it was Kobe in the starting lineup or Shaq in the starting lineup, or, oh my gosh, they're about to announce Powell in the starting lineup, or LeBron in the starting lineup, AD, Luka Doncic, when you get close, the great Lawrence Tanter, who's been, part of the Lakers organization for, 40 plus years, however long it's been. It's going to be cool listening to him introduce Luka Doncic as the starting point guard of the Los Angeles Lakers. So that's all coming in. Who would have thought that? If I was sitting here a couple weeks ago and I was trying to tell everybody, yeah, here's what's going down. Lakers are trading AD, and Lawrence Tanter is going to be on a Monday night on February 10th after the trade deadline, is going to be introducing Luka as the starting point guard. Lakers, get the F out of here. Get the F out of here. What are you talking about? Okay, let's keep going here. I want to hit on a couple more topics here. Saturday night, we get the shocking news. Let me actually, let me do this. Let's look at a couple of these comments here, and let's keep things going. I will say this, just a heads up here. One thing I forgot topics wise to put in there. There's still a lot of fallout coming from Dallas. I do want to talk about some of that stuff. We finally got to hear from the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and I don't know, they're still trying to trash Luka on his way out. I still think it's a stupid strategy, but we'll get into that as well. I'll get into it. A couple shout outs here. Oz, new member. Roslyn, new member. Christian Torres, new member. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being new members. I'm going to take care of the members. Now I'm going to take care of anybody that's a subscriber to this channel. Even if you're not a subscriber to this channel, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you guys are getting value of the channel. I think you guys can see the quality of guests that I'm trying to put on here, the in-depth conversations I'm trying to have, the community that we're trying to build, the kind of the back and forth dialogue with a lot of people that are in the chat and everything else. That's going to happen either way. But if you become a member, I will make sure that members exclusively get special content, special interaction. I'll make sure you guys are all taken care of. So right now I'm going to try to build that base up of members, and then we'll really start focusing in on all the members. So thank you very much for being a member. I greatly appreciate that. Let me get a couple of the comments in here, and then I want to move to what happened on Saturday. Red Velvet. Yep, I'm gonna be the bouncer out in front of the club. You guys know I'm a club guy. Everybody knows I'm a club guy. Every weekend, there's clubs like crazy. I'll be sitting there. I'm be like, "Are you on the list? You're not on the list? Oh, please get back. End of the line. End of the line there." All right, let's keep going here. I want to see, before I kind of I change topics here. I'm going to get into this one. He won't be the coach of the year, but don't worry. I got a lot that I want to get in on JJ Redick. Rebuild the future today. Let's see here. Vando is key. A lot of people here talking specifically because Lakers are not going to have that big anymore. Mark Williams is a bad defensive center, but the Lakers will miss out on his rebounding. All right, let's talk about the Mark Williams trade. Man, I gotta be honest with everybody. Sometimes shit happens with the Lakers. I'm like, you can't make this up. I'm like, you just cannot make this up. That just when you think Lakers are good, they got their center, this and that. Okay, I just quick recap here. Saturday night, I'm driving down from LA. I was at the game, and I'm driving down to San Diego. I'm going to take my mom out for her birthday. Her birthday was on Friday. We celebrated on Sunday. Shout out to my mom. Happy birthday to her. So we're going to go take my mom out on Sunday. So I'm driving down from the arena. I'm driving straight down to San Diego. And I get an alert notification on my phone, and I'm looking. And, Lakers public relations, we get notifications directly from them. Anybody kind of associated with the Lakers or the NBA, if you're part of that public relations kind of list, I guess you can call it, you get these notifications. And I'm just thinking the notification is going to be like, they have practice, they don't have practice. Sometimes they send stuff that they say, hey, here's the audio of the post-game show. So if anybody's needing to transcribe it or want full quotes, they can go in there and get it. And I'm trying to read this thing while I'm driving, and I'm like, what does it say? The trades are not happening? Like I couldn't fully comprehend. And then I get some people that start texting me, kind of odd, funny enough. First couple of texts I get. One is from Sammy, who's killing it on these preview videos. I love what he's doing for this channel. And Sammy's like, Sammy doesn't know what to do. So what's going on here? What's going on here? So Sammy's sending a text. I just figured that's what Sammy was saying. I get another text. One of our partners, you guys know Brad Wallace, the Wallace firm, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I've mentioned you guys, he's the first partner that we have here on the YouTube show, at least for the Skalij show. He's sending me a link. It's like, we don't have any rebounding the rest of the year. I'm like, okay, everybody calm down here. Relax. So anyways, I'm getting these text messages. So a couple things went through my mind. And let me kind of share this with you guys, because I look at this actually a little bit differently. The trade rescinded, literally like the deal never happened. So when we were out there reporting last week, the Lakers just traded for Mark Williams. Here's what they gave up. Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, 2031 pick, and a pick swap in 2030. It's like none of it ever happened. They're going to see Dalton Connect later tonight, and everybody's just going to pretend like nothing happened. Hey, Dalton, how was your weekend? Everything good? Great to see you, man. Hey, did you check out the Super Bowl? That was crazy. Eagles. Wow. They looked great. How about that defensive line? Dalton's going to be walking around like, you guys just effing traded me. Why is everybody pretending that I didn't just get traded? So that's going to happen a little bit later tonight. So it's like the trade never happened. I got two views on this trade. Okay. I got a short-term view and I got a long-term view. All right. Short term, no question about it. It hurts them this year. Of course. Absolutely. There's no excuse. I can't sit here and tell you guys honestly that this trade is not going to hurt the Lakers, that they don't have that 7-footer who was supposedly going to be a lob threat, who was supposedly going to work out perfect with Luka, and LeBron was going to find him and he was going to crash the glass and get putbacks and lob, all those stuff that we thought will come with Mark Williams. It's going to hurt them this year. But I want to, there's a couple angles I want to take. I remember when the trade went down, I said, Lakers gave up a lot, but I understand why they did it. They just got Luka. They're trying to show Luka as well, like, hey, what is it that you need? There was, I think it was Mike Trudell that had reported this. There had been a conversation between Luka and Rob Pelinka of kind of the type of player he's looking for. I'm sure Pelinka just listened and said, okay, cool. That's what I'm going to go get you. And he went out there and got it. And I'm sure the Charlotte Hornets, I've said this before the trade deadline. I remember saying, like, if I'm a team out there, I want to do a deal with the Lakers just because of the pressure that was on Rob Pelinka. And that was before they traded Anthony Davis. There was a steep price. It was like Walker Kessler is going to cost you 2 first-rounders. Miles Turner was going to cost you X amount, that the Lakers were going to have to overpay because they were in this win now mode. Then they trade for Luka. So things kind of changed. But I also this is not how Lakers don't say, well, let's just waste the rest of the season and figure it out in the summer. I don't think they wanted to do that as well, which is why they went out there and made the Mark Williams trade. It's going to hurt them this year. 100% it's going to hurt them this year. So I'm not here to try to justify it or anything else. Rob Pelinka did what he could. He went out there and tried to get the right guy at the right age that he thought was going to make sense for this roster and this team and this franchise, hopefully moving forward. It didn't happen. It sucks for all parties. It really sucks for Mark Williams. I was mentioning that in my video on Saturday. I hope this guy is not damaged goods in the league. I hope he's not. But that's how everybody knows him right now. Everybody's going to know him, at least for now, that the Lakers basically, their own personnel, failed him in his physical. No, this isn't going to work. No. We're noticing other things that we didn't know about before. This is too risky. We don't want to give up this many assets for a guy that we don't feel comfortable with. Health-wise is where he needs to be. Short term, it's going to hurt the Lakers. This playoff run, it's going to hurt the Lakers. But let me ask everybody a quick question here. And listen, maybe people are going to disagree with me on this one, but did you truly think the Lakers had a legitimate shot this season to win an NBA championship? And listen, the way they've been playing, the way they took out the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Clippers and the Indiana Pacers, and the way they were doing this without a lot of their main pieces, and then you got main pieces coming now, maybe there are a lot of Laker fans that thought, hey, they can take this team and ride this thing out to potentially getting to the Western Conference Finals or the NBA Finals or whatever the case is. I still had my doubts. I think they're playing phenomenal. But I still think, too, to try to make this all work in a 9-week window, you're asking for a lot. It's not that it can't happen, but think about how many different players they just took off the roster and put in the roster. The point that I'm trying to make is, if you thought Mark Williams' addition was going to be the difference of them making a true NBA championship run, then you're kind of on your own on that. I don't know if I would not go that far of thinking so. I wanted them to have a more well-rounded out roster so that they could have a chance at least to go make some noise in the playoffs. Now they're playing great, right? So remember how the Lakers were really struggling against teams over 500? They've won 4 in a row against teams over 500. I don't know if the Warriors were over 500, but it might be 5 in a row. So they've been balling out. I'm not trying to take that away from them at all. That's a little bit of the short-term view. Let me tell you a little bit something about the long-term view. I actually think this trade not going through, the Lakers will be better off in the long term. I was a little concerned about Mark Williams. I don't know that much about him. He's only 23 years old. There was already a lot of concerns about his injury history. He's played in 40% of I think it's 85 of like 200 and change games so far in his career, and he's only 23. You don't have a little bit of concern over that? I do. His skill set. Got some things that are strengths, got some things that's like, yeah, he's got to polish that, whatever his game is. I thought the Lakers gave up too much, but I understand why they did it. Okay, let's now fast forward to this summer. Let's say the Lakers go out there, they make some type of a run, whatever the case is, however far they go. Okay, maybe they get a matchup in the first round against Denver and they're out again in the first round. It's gonna listen. Not having Mark Williams, think about the teams. Some of those teams out there that really have size where it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them against teams like the Denver Nuggets. Of course, it's going to hurt them against a team like the Denver Nuggets. And then, Lakers used to play well against the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, I don't know how they're going to play now without Anthony Davis, right? Like that was because AD was there. Houston, okay, that might be a little bit of an interesting team. We'll see what happens. If Dallas is healthy, they certainly got crazy size, the amount of size that they have. How amazing would that be if that's a first-round matchup? So we'll see how far the Lakers go. But I also don't mind the position that they're in. They're going to get back, like I was saying, and I'll kind of go through everything that's going to come back. Here's what they're going to get back based off this trade. Dalton Connect's back on the Lakers. I don't know how he's going to do this year, but I'm not even talking about this year. I'm talking about the summer. Dalton Connect is a very tradable asset for the Lakers. He is. He's a first rounder that is having some success, and teams have a good idea of what they would get if they got Dalton Connect. You get 2031 back. Okay. Get that pick swap, whatever that was, you're going to get that back as well. I want you guys to keep in mind in the summer what exactly all the assets that the Lakers have by the time the summer starts. Evan Sidery did a good job of putting this out there and just kind of breaking down what it has. And I've mentioned this before, but starting this summer, they got some very, very tradable assets, more tradable than this year because a lot of these contracts are expiring. Rui Hachimura becomes an $18.3 million expiring contract. Teams love expiring contracts. Gabe Vincent, $11.5 million expiring contract. They love expiring contracts. Maxi Kleber, love him, hate him. We don't know. Maybe we'll get to see him this year. Maybe we won't. $11 million expiring contract. And they got a couple of picks to go with it. And they got Dalton Connect as well. Dorian Finney-Smith's going to have a player option. I think the Lakers are going to try to lock up Dorian Finney-Smith, and I don't think he's going to become available. The point that I'm trying to make to every Laker fan out there, I don't think it's the end of the world that this Mark Williams trade did not go down. Hurts the Lakers short term, opens up a lot of options long term. You just traded for Luka at 25. Are you thinking short term or are you thinking long term? I would be thinking long term. And again, I'm not saying the Lakers should not have made that trade. I understand why they made it. I understand the thought process Pelinka had in his mind. I understand all of that. All of that makes sense to me. But at the same time, I'm kind of pumping the brakes here a little bit and saying, all right, is this the end of the world? One person I really enjoy listening to when it comes to draft compensation, what did you give up? Bobby Marks. Bobby Marks is somebody that I enjoy listening to. Bobby Marks was like, this ain't the end of the world for the Lakers. You were already kind of overpaying for a guy that has an injury history. Maybe this isn't the worst thing in the world for them to kind of take a quick step back and say, all right, let's just reassess this here real quick. This is already coming as well. This is two names. This is Evan Sidery again, who's part of Forbes. Two names continue to be mentioned in the league circles as potential Lakers center trade targets this summer. Miles Turner and Nick Claxton. Turner can be acquired via sign and trade if they overwhelm the Pacers with an offer. The Nets have been open to moving Claxton for months. This is already starting here, and we're in the summer, or we're not even, we're months away from getting to July 1st and when free agency starts and everything else. But I think for those that are really, really down that this trade did not happen, I get it. I completely understand why you're down. I completely understand why you feel the way you do. I completely understand why this really hurts the Lakers from a short-term perspective. I don't think it's the end of the world long-term. So that's the point that I want to make on that. Mark Williams, Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, those picks, everything else, the pick swap, all that stuff, like it never even happened. Now we'll kind of have to see what the Lakers do moving forward. It's going to be tough. I mean, I'm not here to try to sit here and tell you that the Lakers have all that better options. I'm going to get in the buyout market in a second of what the Lakers can potentially do there, the type of bigs that will be available. But let me wait on that because I have yet to really look at a lot of these comments so far. So let's take a look at some of the comments, and then we'll keep things going here. It's not the end of the world. It's just the end of the season, and nothing is guaranteed in the future. So let's just wait and see what happens. Remember, LeBron will be 41 next year. I know what you're saying here. I mean, look, end of the season. Let me just say this. They're playing great basketball right now. They're obviously having to play small ball lineup is kind of how the Lakers are playing. That's how they're approaching this. They've been winning in this small ball lineup, but I know what you're talking about. Once you get to the playoffs, things are going to slow down. It's going to look a lot different. Teams are going to have opportunities to adjust. You got to have size. So I know what you're talking about of what it means for the rest of this season, but I'm going to go back to this. When the Lakers traded for Luka, was it more about we got to win a championship now, or was it more a long-term play? It was a long-term play. With Anthony Davis, it was worry about right now. And I think the Lakers are still trying to worry about this season and see what they can do. And they've been winning. They're 12 games over 500. But at the same time, I do think that the game plan was, how can you win with Luka over an extended period of time? You're right, LeBron is still on the roster. So there is a little bit of that. But I don't know what to tell you. They tried going all in. It's the best that, I mean, if I'm Pelinka, Pelinka's basically sitting there. He's like, well, what do you guys want me to do? I did all this, and then I went out and traded for a big, but then I also have to be responsible. And if I'm not comfortable with this big, then we got to, we got to obviously take our chances. This is going to be interesting reading the comments because the thing I'm most interested about in the comments, if Laker fans are saying to themselves, the world's going to end because that trade didn't go down, or are they saying, okay, then you know what? It's not this year. Let's see what they can do in the summer. And by the way, your justification of Bron being 40 years old and being 41 next year, I can't fight that. You're 100% right on that. All right, let's see what people got here. Next year could be impossible. They will be able to get a better center with many expiring contracts next season. We can't predict next year. All right, let's see what else. 12 games over 500. Let's get some more here. I'll get into some of the potential, buyout players that the Lakers can go after. So we'll do that right after this. Buyout market, very dull. Yeah, and Lakers have restrictions. They can only go after certain players based on what they're making. I hope Cam continues to get minutes because you never know. It'd be good to have him stay ready for the playoffs. Defense energy might be good to have. Yeah, Dub T, let me tell you something. I don't know how many opportunities that guy's going to get. I don't know how many opportunities he's going to get. Dub T, of course, free or a member. JJ Reddit, a member as well. Naz Reid is a free agent. Small ball can work. Lakers have a lot of size in the wings. Well, I'll tell you what they're playing right now. They're freaking playing with some they're scrappy right now. Next year could be a Nuggets team with an extra star free agent. So I think this is what I think people are saying for the most part right now. I think what I'm getting from a lot of people here is they're disappointed that the trade didn't go through. They think the Lakers are screwed for the rest of this year. And they don't want to worry about next year. They want to, they wanted to obviously take a run this year. I think that's the best way I can describe at least some of the comments that I'm reading here. I don't think it's the end of the world. I really don't. I really don't think it's the end of the world. Jackie says, this was a blessing in disguise. We'll have a better package to make next year's team a contender. That's kind of what I'm talking. Can I tell you something, too, that's very, very important over these next 8 or 9 weeks of the regular season and however far the Lakers can go in the playoffs? don't you also want to see what this team looks like with the players that they have? Don't you also want to see, give you guys an example. Austin Reeves on this Lakers team with Luka and with LeBron. What if Austin Reeves and Luka are phenomenal together? Phenomenal together. What if it's like, oh my gosh, look at this combination, this 1-2 punch that these two players have together? Um, what if Gabe Vincent is just great on this team under Gabe Vincent's been playing a lot better, these last couple of weeks. What if I guess the point that I'm trying to make is this. You're also going to get an idea over this next handful of weeks of what matchups work, what players play well, what guys step up in the playoffs, what guys take a step back. D'Angelo Russell comes to mind, right? When D'Lo was with the Lakers, he wasn't really a playoff performer per se. He had some moments, but is Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, or other guys that are on the team? What if let me throw another hypothetical. What if Dalton Knecht kills it the rest of the regular season? Do you all of a sudden stop now and say they can't trade Dalton Knecht this summer? I think there's also this, because the franchise and the roster looks wildly different than it did 2 weeks ago. So many different players. I mean, since December 29th, they traded D'Angelo Russell, Maxwell Lewis, Anthony Davis, Max Christie. Now they're getting players back because of, the trade that didn't go down. I think there's also this curiosity of what works and what doesn't work. So I think that the Lakers will be fine. It does hurt them in the short term. No question about it. It hurts them in the short term. No question about that. Okay, let's keep going here because there's some other topics that I want to get into. I don't know if you guys have got a chance to see the buyout market, but let me do this here real quick. Okay. Here are the type of names that are being thrown around in the buyout market. I've seen JaVale McGee's name be thrown around. Okay. JaVale McGee, who, by the way, is basically, I see this guy at all these Laker games. Guy's clearly not, ready to go. Or maybe he is ready to go. Maybe this is his way of marketing himself. One that could be interesting, I see Mo Bamba's name being thrown out there. Daniel Tice is another name that I'm seeing, thrown out there. There's some other names out there as well, but frankly, I think most of those other guys probably will not be bought out. I saw, who was one of the names? I saw like Larry Nance Jr.'s name being thrown out there. Most of the other guys that are out there, I don't think would get bought out. And then I also think that there's a little bit of, there's restrictions that the Lakers are going to have just based on, from a financial perspective, there's going to be restrictions. They can't just go out there. It's not like they can go after any big men that's available. No, it kind of has to do with the first apron, second apron. There are going to be some limitations that the Lakers would have, but those are some names that are being thrown out there. Are these game changer guys? Are these guys that, you feel like, oh my gosh, if they can get their hands on this guy, he'd be great? Probably not. This is just a rental, just to get some extra size. I'll give Jackson Hayes a lot of credit because I think Hayes has done a phenomenal job of just trying to add whatever he can, just kind of playing to the best of his ability. This is the best that I got. Hopefully it works. I think he's kind of fell into that process a little bit for the Lake Show. But ultimately, I think as we all look at what the options are for the Lakers in the buyout market, it's not going to be a game changer. Like Mark Williams, when they traded for him, there was a tremendous amount of upside, only 23 years old. Let's take health away, which you can't, but let's just pretend here for a second. Let's just say health is not an issue. Then you could at least really, really look at the situation and say to yourself, all right, what can this guy become? If he's on the right team, he gets to play with Luka and LeBron. Like, you started kind of thinking what that can be. A lot of these names, I think you're just kind of looking for whatever you can get. Before, if you thought, let's try to get the right piece, now it's like, let's just try to get any piece and then hope that that person can have, some type of impact, I guess you can call it. All right, there are no decent bigs left. See what else we got here. Nobody in this league stopping Jokic. Well, if you couldn't stop Jokic when you had if you couldn't stop Jokic with Anthony Davis, how the hell are you going to stop Jokic now? But listen, you gotta now you just got to adjust. I got actually a really good piece I want to talk about JJ Redick here in just a second. And I will give the Lakers credit in a couple different ways. I'm seeing Willie Cauley-Stein's name come up. I'm seeing Robin Lopez's name come up. I saw the Robin Lopez one. Willie Cauley-Stein, I think I don't know if he's doing his own podcast, but I've definitely seen him doing some podcasts. So listen, think about, these are the names we're talking about. JaVale McGee. We're not talking about a sure fit. Yep, it's going to be this guy. It's going to be that guy, any of that stuff. We're not talking about that. So I think that gives you just a little bit of an idea here as well. All right. I mentioned a little bit earlier. Let's talk a little bit about Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. You got this guy texting me on a Saturday night. He's like, Slee, what the hell are we going to do? I'm like, Brad, I don't know. Brad. I'm not sure what we're going to do. I was just waiting for him to be like, well, figure this shit out. Okay, Brad, I'm on it. Shout out to Brad Wallace, the Wallace firm, first partner of the Sliwa show. I'm so appreciative of him and his firm, obviously joining the show. But I really want to talk about what he could potentially do and the type of value he could potentially bring to listeners that are on here. If he could potentially help you. I hope you never need Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm and what he provides. But let me tell you guys a little bit about what he provides, his partnership, my history with him. If you or someone was in a serious injury, you should reach out to Brad Wallace or the Wallace firm. Maybe it's not you specifically. Maybe it's a family member. I could only imagine, how intimidating and daunting the process could be. Insurance companies just want you to settle right away. They want to give you the absolute least amount possible. Let Brad Wallace, let the Wallace firm, let them kind of walk you and your family through some of your legal options. Let someone, an expert in the field, be able to assist you. He can help anyone in the state of California. So this is not just a Southern California thing or an LA thing or anything like that. He can help anyone in the state of California. If you need me to make a personal introduction, I'd be happy to do it. I could send you an email, or I could send him an email on your behalf. However that connection comes. We also created a special URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, to get a free consultation, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Quick story about me and Brad Wallace and how this partnership came together. Brad Wallace targeted me when I was at 710 ESPN and basically had said, he had some interest in doing some sports marketing, getting on the station and everything else. And he wanted me to do his endorsements. Did them for a couple of years. Obviously talked very highly of him for a couple of years. But at the same time, him and I grew a relationship. So we've known each other now for about 5 years. Here he is following me on YouTube, wants to continue that partnership, that affiliation. And all I'm trying to do is just see if there are listeners that are out there that need legal help for a serious injury. They're proven trial lawyers. They are fantastic. They are trustworthy, and I can make a personal introduction. So however I can help, I'm here to help anyone in the state of California. He can assist you. So shout out to the Wallace firm, and shout out for their partnership here. Okay. Keep going here. I'm going to read a couple more comments. I want to talk JJ Redick here. All right, let's get a couple more comments here. Let's see. How was Vando on Jokic in the Western Conference Finals? I don't remember. Nobody stops Nikola Jokic. Guys, if we're trying to find a solution for somebody out there to stop Nikola Jokic, the Lakers had Anthony Davis and couldn't stop Nikola Jokic. There's no big out in the market that's stopping Nikola Jokic. There's no big in the NBA that's going to stop Nikola Jokic. So if we're trying to test the market for somebody that can stop Nikola Jokic, ain't happening. Just not happening. So I wouldn't worry. I'd worry less about Nikola Jokic. Nobody's stopping Jokic. All right, let's see what else we got here. I was listening to an interview with Anthony Davis. I'll get into AD a little bit later because of his situation. I'm going to actually do that in the weekend recap. I was listening to AD, and they were asking him, why is it so much more helpful for you to have a big playing with a big. He's like, I get to roam. So I'm seeing some people here put Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, how the Lakers, won an NBA championship and everything else. But that's why AD wanted to play in his natural spot, which he feels is the number 4. He feels he can go out and just kind of help everybody because he doesn't have to be the guy that owns the middle. So that's why guys maybe like Dwight Howard and some of these other guys had so much help or had so much success is because they had AD right behind them. Now, Dwight Howard was the man back in the day. Nobody's saying that he wasn't. Okay, let's keep things going here. You guys hear that I got here, JJ Redick is one of my topics. I want to talk about JJ here real quick. It's funny. I was having a kind of an interesting interaction with some Laker fans Saturday after the Lakers beat the Indiana Pacers. I just kind of had mentioned, but I didn't spend too much time on it. But I had mentioned how great JJ has been, so far this year. And some people were like, you're blowing too much smoke up his ass. I don't believe so, but I want to spend some time on JJ here for a quick second. How did you guys feel when JJ was introduced as the head coach of the Lakers? All right. I remember for me, one man's opinion, I remember for me, I was hesitant. I'm like, well, I don't know how to feel. Is this just LeBron flexing his muscle again and saying, well, I know this guy. Let's bring JJ Redick in, right? Remember the Lakers had gone for Bobby Hurley of Connecticut, and there were some rumors out there. What'd they offer him? I forget what the exact details they offered him, but Bobby Hurley, wait, I think I got the wrong. Now I'm stopping myself here. Yeah, I got the wrong. Dan Hurley. I'm talking about his brother. Remember when Dan Hurley was negotiating a deal with the Lakers? And I think at the end of the day, what he was doing was basically just trying to use leverage for the Lakers to go get a better deal with UConn, which is exactly what he did. And then the Lakers settled for JJ Redick. Settled as in that wasn't their first option. And you're kind of starting to think of the Lakers' coaching history. It's like, Jesus, what's going on here? Had Luke Walton, he's gone. They had Frank Vogel. He wins an NBA championship. He's gone. They had Darvin Ham. 2 years, he's gone. Now you're getting JJ Redick. Guys, the guy's never coached in college or NBA. Like, I don't know how to feel about JJ Redick. He's never coached. I don't have anything to work off of. Becomes the head coach of the Lakers. The Lakers. Not becomes the head coach for anybody. Becomes the head coach of the Lakers. JJ Redick has been phenomenal this season. Phenomenal. I don't really even know what to bitch and complain about. We always find something to bitch and complain about, especially for coaching. There's always, I got an angle here. I don't like this guy. Why is that guy doing this? This guy's rotation, his minutes, lack of timeouts, whatever. You're going to find something to, he doesn't have the team prepared. He doesn't have the team playing hard. Does somebody on this chat want to find something to bitch and complain about when it comes to JJ Redick? Because I really genuinely don't think I have anything. JJ Redick took on the Lakers coaching job, probably the most scrutinized coaching job in all of the NBA, no question about it. One of the most difficult jobs to take over in all sports from a coaching perspective. And in this season, he's got a 40-year-old LeBron James. He's got a roster that's certainly imperfect, trying to figure out, all right, kind of style-wise, how are we playing with Anthony Davis? Okay, he doesn't have a center that he needs. Okay, let's kind of put all these pieces together. D'Lo, okay, D'Lo's gone. Cool. Let me use Dorian Finney-Smith. All right, NBA trade deadline's coming up. What? AD's gone. That entire structure of how we were kind of building this thing. We got Luka now. Okay, take our chances with Luka. Obviously, everybody excited about that. Luka hasn't played a game yet. Guys, in my opinion, it has not mattered at all who's playing, who's not. It doesn't matter the matchup of who they're playing. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter the NBA trade deadline, players that are available, players that are not available. It doesn't matter that LeBron's taken a day off, AD was out, Luka's not available yet. It doesn't matter. Every single game. Use Saturday's game as an example. Did that squad look like a team that said, guys, we have every excuse to lose this game. Indiana's playing good. We don't have Luka. We don't have LeBron. All right, AR was a game time decision. Let's take the L here. Nobody's going to be upset at us. Does it feel like the Lakers are letting go of just a little bit of the rope in any one of these games? That's coaching. How prepared these players are, how hard that they're playing, how JJ is calling timeouts and having, sound clips that are going out because he's cursing. What was it, Dalton Connect, that he was cursing of what the hell is he doing? Every single detail. It feels like JJ Redick has his shit together. A lot of times the way you can tell whether somebody can be a good coach or not, and this can change at any moment, are the guys playing hard for you? Is Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jackson Hayes, go down the list of players that are getting some opportunities right now. Does it feel like none of those players are playing hard, or does it feel like none of those guys care about what's going on? That's coaching. It is. And if somebody wants to say I'm overreacting about how great JJ Redick has been, go ahead and put it in the comments. If you're going to hate or not appreciate what JJ Redick has done up to this point, he's coached 50 games in the NBA. They're 31-19, 12 games over 500, half a game out of the number 4 spot in the Western Conference, 1 game out of the number 3 spot in the Western Conference, 50 games in. And look how much the lineup has changed. Look how many players have been in and out of the lineup. He's being thrown curveball after curveball, and the dude is just sitting there like, that's fine. I don't care what you throw at me. He's been phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, I genuinely, I was looking at this because I was curious about it more than anything else. Saturday, I started searching. I'm like, Coach of the Year odds. What are the coaches that are part of the Coach of the Year odds? Okay. I'm not telling you he's got to win it. I'm just saying I better start hearing his name in it. As of Saturday, as of February 6th, as of Friday, I think it was, these were the odds on Friday. Okay. This is just, some sports books that are out there. I think this was FanDuel that had this one out. As of February 6th, let me give you where JJ Redick is on this list of Coach of the Year odds. Okay. Kenny Atkinson was number 1. Ime Udoka was number 2. JB Bickerstaff of the Pistons was number 3. Mark Dagonaut of the Thunder was number 4. Jamal Mosley of the Magic was number 5. Ty Lue of the Clippers was number 6. Joe Mazzulla of the Celtics was number 7. Michael Malone of the Nuggets was number 8. Tom Thibodeau of the Knicks was number 9. You know where JJ Redick was? I have no idea because they only listed 9. He's not even on the list. JJ Redick's not even on the list. That's fine. All good. Doesn't matter. The world's not going to end. Impossible. JJ Redick's not a top 5 candidate for Coach of the Year this year. Impossible. Somebody draw me up. Are the Cavs? 100%. Give Kenny Atkinson all the work. Ime Udoka, they got to kind of get some of their stuff together because they've been losing games. But should he be on the list? Of course. Give JB Bickerstaff. I'm not telling you that there aren't other coaches out there that are worthy of being a Coach of the Year candidate. How is JJ Redick not a part of that conversation? That was as of Friday. Well, they only played one more game since Friday. That was on Saturday. They beat the Pacers. How's he not a part of that conversation? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe there is some fuel there for JJ Redick and the rest. Maybe he doesn't give a shit, which I wouldn't be surprised at all if JJ Redick's like, I don't care about that. I'm just trying to win games. He's been phenomenal. He has genuinely been phenomenal this year in coaching the Lakers. And for a lot of people that had no idea what he was going to bring to the table, for a lot of people that thought, he's only getting this job because of LeBron. Is anybody, do you know when you're doing a good job as a Lakers head coach? You know when you're doing a good job? When no one's really talking about you. I mean, Darvin Ham would come up in every single post-game show that I did last year. Every single post-game, they're like, I don't know what Darvin's doing. From a fan perspective, right? Not calling the right timeouts, weird lineups that are out there, not giving Max Christie enough shine. Max Christie is going to kill it in Dallas, by the way. That dude's going to demolish it in Dallas. He looks great already in Dallas. Looks actually, oddly enough, looks really good in a Mavs jersey, almost as if he belongs there. But you had so many question marks with Darvin Ham. You had so many question marks of kind of where's this team going strategically? What are they doing? I'm not going to go back and play you that Anthony Davis soundbite that we all know about during the playoffs against Denver after game 2. He's like, we don't know what we're doing on both sides of the floor. I'm like, that's not good for Darvin. That's probably the end of Darvin Ham. All right, that's my take on JJ Redick so far this year. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Okay, Slee, he's not Phil Jackson. Let's calm down. Did I say he was Phil Jackson, or did I say he was phenomenal so far this year for the Lakers? Which one? Which one? I love when people don't want to give credit. If I was saying this and Lakers were on a 6-game losing streak, then you say, Al, what the hell are you talking about? They're balling out. All right, let's see some more here. Love it. You are overrating. Doug Christie's doing a great job in Sacramento. Udoka will win Coach of the Year. Ham was a bum for giving Taurean Prince minutes over Max. I agree with you on JJ. JJ, A+ season no matter what happens. Finally we get some people that agree. Okay. Let's see. JJ deserves some serious consideration for Coach of the Year. D Ham, bad hire. JJ, good hire. JJ practicing, knows most of the players on the team. Let's see what we have here. JJ has done a good job thus far, better than Ham, whose favorite player was Prince. That's so funny. Man, people did not like Darvin Ham. They definitely did not like Darvin Ham. I was a JJ guy from the start after listening to him. Endless BS postgame comments ever lost. Those guys over there are great players. Yeah, I think the one thing I do like about JJ, no excuses. I don't care who's in the lineup. I don't care who's not in the lineup. I'm just going to do what I need to do to try to get a W. I think that's the part that I like most. JR. Sup, Slee. Luka's listed as questionable. Is listed as questionable. I think he plays. I think everybody, a lot of the information that has kind of gone out, a lot of it feels like he's going to play tonight. And if they don't, ESPN's going to hallucinate that they keep getting these, switching their entire lineup to get nationally televised to get this game. And then it doesn't happen. Get another one in here. Northborough AES. Keep Markeith. Old Tuffy and new Tuffy. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. What did we see? Markeith get his first. I don't think it's ideal. I don't think they're going to be trying to give Markeith Morris a lot of playing time. I just think that's kind of the circumstance that the Lakers are in. They'll get some players back. And if he does play, I don't think they're going to be, obviously weighing very heavy on his contributions. Ivan, new member. Thank you, Ivan. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate you being a member, being an MVP member. $3 a month. I appreciate it, Ivan. Okay, I want to go through some of the fallout here real quick, and then I want to get to the Super Bowl. Look at me. Day after the Super Bowl. 1 hour in, I haven't even talked about the Super Bowl yet. We'll get into it. What a shitty game. That game was so bad. That game was so bad. It was so bad. All right, we'll get into it in just a second here. I actually wasn't that surprised. I wasn't that sure. Well, I was surprised it was that much of a blowout. But, okay. Over the weekend, some other news came out. By the way, keep the comments coming. I'll continue to try to get to them. Over the weekend, I saw predominantly yesterday, Mark Stein had put out on the Stein line Really good article. It's long, very, very long, but it's really good, of trying to map out why Luka was traded from the Dallas Mavericks. So he just did a kind of a phenomenal job of breaking that down. Um, I don't think, I really actually don't think, I'm going to share my screen here with everybody. I don't think that they are helping themselves. And I'm talking about they, as the Dallas Mavericks, are helping themselves here with some of the quotes that are coming out on the situation and Luka eventually being traded. Let me read a couple things here. Okay. This is from the Steinline. Legion Hoops put this out here. So let me just kind of put out here real quick. Let me see how this looks in front of you guys. All right, let me put it like that. There you go. All right, let me read this here real quick. Okay. Nico Harrison refused to give Luka $350 million. It was largely Harrison, Nico Harrison, who has increasingly believed since the Mavericks' one-sided loss to the Celtics in the NBA Finals that Doncic would not improve his commitment to conditioning, his off-court dietary discipline, would not improve as a leader or culture setter, would not improve his well-chronicled comportment issues with referees, always complaining, would not be able to stay healthy as he got older, and thus could not, after the Mavericks and Doncic grappled with these issues since Harrison arrived in June 2021, be given a 5-year Supermax deal worth nearly $350 million that he was expected in July. Okay, so there's one quote there that this is just, again, this is part of the article that I'm referring to. Nico Harrison basically, it wasn't comfortable. We kind of already saw the quotes that were out there. You know, some of the quotes that were out there specifically on the day of the trade, or no, the next day when he talked with Jason Kidd there at the presser, and basically saying like defense wins championships. And he went on to say, you know, whatever he said. Okay, let's keep going here, because now this is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks that kind of goes into this as well. By the way, Patrick Dumont is one of the owners of the Dallas Mavericks, and he did a sit-down interview with the Dallas Morning Star. If you guys remember, Dallas Morning Star, that's Brad Townsend, who was the guy that came on last week. I think it was on Thursday, was nice enough with his time, and we talked a little bit about Luka and the trade and everything else. Here are some quotes coming from him, okay? I think Dallas is just digging a deeper hole, but it is what it is. In my mind, the way teams win is by focus, by having the right character, by having the right culture, and having the right dedication to work as hard as possible to create a championship winning outcome. And if you're not doing that, you're going to lose. Okay, these are comments that were coming from the owner. Here's another one. If you look at the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, they worked really hard every day with a singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, it doesn't work. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be a part of the Dallas Mavericks. That's who we want. I'm unwavering on this. The entire organization knows this. This is how I operate outside of basketball. This is the only way to be competitive and win. If you want to take a vacation, don't do it with us. Doubling down, tripling down, however you want to put it. There's one more thing that I want to read here, and then we'll continue. You know, we'll kind of give our thoughts on some of these quotes that are here. Okay. The last thing that I'm going to mention on here is an article out there about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban attempted to stop Luka Doncic Lakers trade at last minute. We all know now he's a minority owner. And this is what it read, and this is part of the Steinline as well, his reporting. Okay. Former owner Mark Cuban tried to prevent current GM Nico Harrison from trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers, a move that has been, okay, let me keep going here. Cuban saw the swap as a franchise-altering choice and did his best to stop it from happening. But according to Stein, the deal had already been sealed by a verbal handshake. So there was more in here that felt like Nico Harrison. I'll give you the full quote. By the time Cuban found out about the Luka for AD trade, it was too late. Dumont never approached for advice. Sources said Cuban urged Harrison not to go ahead with the swap, only to find out that the deal had already been sealed with the Lakers by a verbal handshake. So Mark Cuban, by the time he found out, was trying to stop it. He was not going to stop it, and we all know what happened from there. Luka Doncic became a Los Angeles Laker. I got a couple thoughts on all this, okay? By the way, let me say this, and this is just kind of the reality of the situation. I've said this from the beginning that I think all of this is great for the Lakers because I think it's going to mean you're getting a completely different Luka Doncic. It's one man's opinion. Think about Luka here for a second. How many different ways can you be disrespected on your way out the door for the Dallas Mavericks? Publicly, basically, this is what the Mavs have said. Publicly, not privately, not behind the scenes, not, saying, listen, we love Luka Doncic. We know. And I'm not telling you that they haven't had quotes like that praising Luka Doncic. But here's what they've basically said by trading Luka, or literally saying it kind of in a roundabout way. This is what they've said. They've said, you're not committed to winning. They said, you're not committed to your body. They said, you're not the right guy for a culture. They've said, you're not a champion. That's basically what the Dallas Mavericks have said about Luka Doncic over the course of these last few days. From the moment they traded him, their actions spoke louder than their words. Then whatever Nico Harrison said, Dumont, the owner of the Mavs as well, nothing has really been positive about Luka Doncic going the other way. I will also tell you this. I don't know, and there's no guarantee that Luka Doncic is going to be an all-time Laker great. He's going to be a legend in the game. Maybe they're right. For all I know, maybe Luka kind of starts this decline. Maybe he weighs too much and never gets his body in the right shape and conditioning and everything else. But I do know this. If all of this doesn't motivate Luka, I don't know what's going to. I don't know what is. I mean, some of the stuff they have said about Luka on his way out, how do you not take that personal? How do you not take that as disrespect? They literally are telling you, yep, we don't think you're one of the best players in the league. We don't think we can win a championship with you. We think you're overweight. You don't care about your conditioning. We actually think you hurt our culture. That's what they said about Luka on his way out. If all of this can't get Luka to be the best version of himself, then I don't think that's ever going to happen. Now, I got confidence that Luka will change. Let me give you guys an example. On Friday, I had Michael Thompson on, right? MT was on. And if you guys heard that conversation, or maybe took some of the clips that I ended up putting up on YouTube, one of the first things Michael said, he's like, he's weighs too much. He's not taking care of his body. He's got to be around 230. It's one of the first things Michael said. And Michael Thompson comes from, a mentality of your body that's your office. If you're a professional athlete, that's your office. The way you treat your body is the way you treat your office. And Michael's saying, Luka, get your shit together in an indirect way, right? I think Luka is going to be a Laker great. I think he's going to be phenomenal with the Lakers. I think he's going to be unbelievable with the Lakers. And I think the fact that the Dallas Mavericks have said these specific things about him, his character, his weight, his conditioning, his drive, his, lack of championship pursuit, all of that stuff, I think is going to benefit the Lakers. I think it's going to benefit Luka Doncic. But damn, you really can't read anything about Luka that's not negative coming from the Dallas Mavericks. That's crazy. On his way out, they definitely had no problem trying to signal this ain't the guy. He's not the guy that's going to get it done. And I do believe it's kind of interesting that that's kind of their strategy and their game plan that they're sticking to. All right, let's get some comments here. Nick T, thank you for the super brother. Season turned around after JJ yelled at LeBron in Philadelphia. Okay. Maybe that was the turning point. PNG, thank you for the super. Lakers dangerously, people snoozing on us. Okay, could be the case. We'll find out here. I don't think too many people can be sleeping on the Lakers now. I don't think they can. Tracy Johnson, agrees, Slee. If he doesn't come out wanting to destroy the league in Dallas, it will prove them right. Again, I'm going to say, let me say this here real quick. And actually, it's something that Brad Townsend had said from the Dallas Morning News. I'm not watching every Mavs game, but I will tell you this. every move Nico Harrison has made since he's been the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks has worked out for Dallas. Kyrie Irving, everybody, what the hell are you doing? This, that. That's worked out in Dallas. The Gafford trade, the PJ Washington trade, they got a lot of heat for that last year because people thought they gave up too much. That worked for the Mavs. This obviously is a completely different type of trade. He's taken his chances on Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and trading away the franchise player in Luka Doncic. So this is completely different. But maybe they won an NBA championship and he could quiet everybody down. Maybe let me tell you this, if we're in a year from now, if we're having question marks and conversations about Luka's health and his body, that's a problem. We shouldn't be. I think Luka's an absolute baller. I love what everybody has said about him. What is it? Dorian Finney-Smith last week was like, if you can put up those numbers, maybe I should weigh 270. By the way, he doesn't weigh 270, but that's just what people were saying. Saying all of that crazy shit about a top 2 player is literally insane. Not only is it insane, it's remarkably disrespectful. And if you're not Luka, saying to yourself, I'm going to demolish that team and the rest of the league. Here's the beauty with Luka. He's 25. He's already accomplished great things at 25. But you know what Luka has not accomplished? He's never won an NBA championship. That's what's left on his resume. 5-time first-team All-NBA before age 25. What? His numbers in the playoffs are better than his numbers in the regular season. Took the Dallas Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals. Took the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals. Absolute killer. Big moments. Comfortable. Enjoys them. What's the score? We're down 2. Cool. I'll just hit a 3 against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals in a critical game 2 on the road. I'm going to shut everybody's asses up. No problem. That's what I do. Where he kind of takes his game to the next level, I think this is all set up perfectly for him to do it, obviously, with a Laker. And it starts tonight. That's kind of the crazy thing, too. It's like everything, all this hype, everything we still haven't seen him come out and play a game with the Lakers. But I will say that it is going to be important for him to take that game to the next level. And I don't know if you can take your game to the next level, but maybe take your body to the next level to allow you to do whatever it is that you could do because you dropped some weight and now you have the ability to kind of take your game even further. But impossible he doesn't take all that stuff personal. Let's get some more in here. Luka haters, what are Clipper fans doing here? Everybody's invited. Everybody's invited in this chat. I don't care who it is. Any NBA fan they're welcome. The door is wide open. I'll have a conversation with anybody. All right, let's keep going here. Here's some cold water in the face. Dallas only started doing well after the midseason trades. Okay. All right, let's see some more here. Luka will drop 70 on the Mavs next time. You want to know something crazy? Yeah, he's dropped 70 in his career. I was listening to, now there's kind of some clips that have been coming out when JJ Redick and LeBron were doing the podcast together. There was one conversation specifically about guarding Luka. And they were talking about, I like stuff like that. Like I like kind of the X's and O's of the NBA. I like the X's and O's in basketball. I just love basketball, right? So I was listening to the conversation. They're saying, blitzing Luka. 2 guys blitz Luka. Okay, well, what then happens? Like I think they were talking about the top 5 players in the NBA or top 3 players in the NBA that get blitzed, guards that get blitzed, and Luka was like by far number 1. Okay, and they were going through the conversation, and they were like, "Well, it's such a stupid strategy because he's got shooters, he's big enough to see over people, and he's going to make the right pass." So they said there was one time against Atlanta where they said, "We're not blitzing Luka. We're going to let Luka just go off. Whatever he goes off for, let him do it." We hear this a lot in the NBA. You hear it a lot in the NBA. It's like, well, let Jokic get his 35, but don't let Jokic get his 35 and his 13 assists because that's when he kills you. When Jokic kills you, it's because he got everybody else involved on top of already getting his 35. So Atlanta makes a decision to say, let's not blitz Luka Doncic. Do you know which game that was? That was a game Luka had 73. And they're both laughing at each other like, this is the team that decided they're not going to blitz him. And Luka said, cool. Then I'll go ahead and just get into first gear and go all offense. And he dropped his 70 plus. Luka should be 220, 230. I don't know what the weight should be. I genuinely have absolutely no idea what the weight should be. I just want Luka to be the best version of himself. You know what people are not giving Luka enough credit for? You know who played the most amount of minutes in the league last year? Luka. How can you be out of shape and play the most minutes in the league? Now, if you want to make the case against the Boston Celtics, he was tired. He was just, yeah, he probably was. Guys asked to do everything, got to the NBA Finals, and Boston was just better. Boston could throw Jaylen Brown at him, Jason Tatum at him, Derek White on him, Drew Holiday. They could throw anything at him. They could throw size at him. They could throw fast guys at him. Okay, they weren't better than the Boston Celtics. All right, let's keep going here. That's the other thing that I think I'd pay most attention to. I think the thing that people are also looking at is part of the reason why you want him to be as healthy as possible, so he's not injured, right? So the best version that you get of Luka Doncic is he's healthy, which leads to less case of injury. Northborough AES, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you, buddy. Just some sip of coffee here. Dumont is solid. Has relieved the hellfire Nico is getting. Death threats to his family. Right or wrong, Dumont is helping redirect that hate. Well, I think this. I think ownership always have, they throw soldiers in front. That's basically like, all right, that guy's going to get all the heat. That's what your GM is. Your GM sometimes is like, throw the coach in there. Let him get all the heat. But the right leaders, the idea and the concept is, no, I'll take the heat. And Dumont has done that. The problem with Dumont, his justification also, like he said, he put Shaq in there. Do you know how out of shape Shaq used to be? Do you know why Kobe and Shaq had the issues they did? Because Kobe spent the entire offseason working out, getting his body right, ready for the next season. Shaq, his strategy was, nope, not going to do that in the offseason. I'm going to kick back. I'm going to chill. I'm going to be with my family. I'm going to travel. I'm going to this. I'm going to enjoy my offseason. And then once the season starts, training camp starts, now I'm starting to work my body back to where I need it to be. Now, Shaq also, his body was a lot different than Kobe, but Kobe's mentality was also a lot different than Shaq's. Not everybody has the same strategy. How you get to where you need to be, it's up to that individual. So whatever that looks like down the road. So, but Dumont's example of Shaq, that's not the right example. Let's get another one in here. Thank you for the super, brother. It's obvious Nico was ordered to dump Luka. Luka disrespect will change him. The attitude adjustment will be televised. Let's see it. I want to see it. I already know how, easily excited we can all be about Luka. I think there's another level of Luka that we haven't seen yet that's coming. I think there's another level of Luka that's coming. Let's see what we got here. Let's get some comments here on Instagram. All right, here's what we got. Carson on Instagram. If he got the job because of LeBron, that would be his greatest achievement as a Laker with the run we have with coaches. JJ has and will do big things with him. Well, I think he's going to do big things without him. I think he's going to do big things without him. At one point, LeBron's not going to be a Laker. And I think at another point, JJ Redick will still be, obviously the coach of the Lakers. All right, some people saying good morning, what's up? Let's get another one in here on Instagram. Only a few teams have true big men that play the post. If we keep up the defensive energy, Lakers will be fine. Yeah, losing, that was a conversation that we had a little bit earlier. Losing Mark Williams, having that trade rescinded. obviously sucks, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I think the Lakers will actually be just fine once the dust settles. Okay. Let's keep things moving here. I'll get back to some of your comments here in just a second. I have yet to even talk about the Super Bowl. Do a little weekend recap right here. Super Bowl 49. Let me do a little bit of that. I got a couple things on the NBA. I'll go back to your comments. Then we're going to get the hell out of here. And then tonight we'll have a post-game show. I will be at the game tonight. So I'll be at the arena. Lakers taking on the Utah Jazz. Luka's first game. That's going to be fun. What do you guys think of the Super Bowl? Give me some of your thoughts on the Super Bowl. By the way, if you're here, thank you very much for being here. What are we, $1:20 into the show? We just keep going. We'll go as long as we need to go. If you're here, you're hanging out, thank you for being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. Just past 30,000. Just got past the 30K subscriber plateau. I appreciate that. What's next? I think 50's next. 50's next. But you got to take one step at a time, But thank you for being a subscriber to the channel. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe. What do you guys think of the Super Bowl? Give you guys just kind of my quick thoughts on it. Obviously a surprise that Philly, what was the final score? 40-22, but the game was not even that close. Like 40-22 is being really nice to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes showing 257 yards for 3 touchdowns is being really nice to Patrick Mahomes. They were awful. And Mahomes looked a little shook. Obviously, his pick 6 that he threw, really just like the critical piece of the game. He threw another interception that led to a touchdown. There's 14 points off of turnovers right there, 2 of them from Patrick Mahomes. Whether he got hit, which he did, kind of lost his balance in the second interception. You're just not used to that with Patrick Mahomes. That doesn't happen to Patrick Mahomes. Certainly doesn't happen in the Super Bowl. I'm not surprised Philly won. I'm surprised Philly dominated the way they did. The game was remarkably boring. Remarkably boring. I mean, I'm sitting there, and I drove up last night. I'm watching the game with my girl, and we're just kind of sitting back. I'm like, I actually prepped my entire show during the Super Bowl. I'm like, there's nothing to watch here. I might as well just start getting quotes and start figuring out what to prep and everything else. But just an awful game to watch. A lot of praise to the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of praise to their defense. I don't know if you guys remember this, but last week I actually talked about this for a few weeks leading up. I'm not surprised Philly won. I watched the game. The Eagles played the Rams, who was week 12. It was at SoFi Stadium. And they won. Eagles won by like 17 or something. They won by 3 scores. That's a game Saquon went off and had 255 yards on the ground. But I remember saying after that game, I'm like, I think that's the best team in the league. And the reason why they were the best team in the league, it wasn't just because of Saquon Barkley. It wasn't just because of Jalen Hurts. It was the combination of both of those players, the offensive balance that they had, but their defense was one of the best in the league as well. That front four of Philly getting to KC, getting to Patrick. Mahomes had no time yesterday. He had no time to make any decision. Mahomes looked frantic. He looked shook. How was Patrick Mahomes shook in an NFL game? I didn't know that was possible. They're looking to obviously try to get their three-peat. By the way, still, without the three-peat, the last North American team, professional team to have a three-peat in sports, it's still Shaq and Kobe Lakers, 2000, 2001, and 2002. So the three-peat still intact for those for that Laker franchise back in the day. But Philly just had, I remember after that Week 12 game, it's like you're watching, you're like, that's the perfect balance. Telling Michael on Friday, I'm like, Michael, they have exactly what you need to win in a playoff game. They could run the ball down your throat. And Saquon wasn't even all that great yesterday. Granted, I think Jalen Hurts was great. But they got the perfect balance. In the playoffs, you got to be able to run the ball and have a good defense. Their defense basically won them the game yesterday. And then you still got all this incredible talent on the offensive end. Just an incredible performance, and certainly not something that I saw coming. I'm sure a lot of people didn't see a blowout coming, but that game was ridiculously lopsided. Ridiculously lopsided. Okay, let me see some of the comments here. By the way, weekend recap. I've mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. Of course, is presented by the Wallace firm. Need legal help for a serious injury? The Wallace firm are proven trial lawyers. I can give you a personal introduction to Brad Wallace, who owns and runs the Wallace firm, proud partner of our Sliwa show here on YouTube and of this channel. Go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa to learn more. URL, kind of see, obviously, that's a part of it as well. Again, wallacewins.com/Sliwa for a free consultation. Let's get to some of these comments here. Northborough, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you very much. Very much. Philly had biggest O-line. 6'6", 330 was the average. D-line the same. Best running back season in history from Saquon. This was a beast demon team, hungry as you could finish that off here. Don't have any weaknesses. No weaknesses. I remember when Saquon signed with the Eagles, it was like, yeah, sometimes the Giants, the New York Giants, used to be considered a good franchise. I love watching good franchises. What I mean by that is like every year, not even watching them. I like respecting good franchises. Let me give you an example. Let me throw you some good franchises in baseball, okay? And I'm not even talking about the obvious ones. Like, obviously, the Dodgers are a great run organization, okay? But like the Atlanta Braves, that's a good organization. They're just kind of always in the mix. Tampa Bay, always in the mix. In the NFL, Baltimore is always in the mix. Pittsburgh's always going to be in the mix. There was a time that was the Giants, not anymore. When Saquon signed with Philly, I'm like, okay, Philly's a good organization. They just got Saquon, and you're not depending on one guy. So I think what you're saying here about how great the O-line was, how great the D-line was, and then you added Saquon to this team. And, oh, by the way, they already got to a Super Bowl and lost. So they had a chip on their shoulder. So I think all of that just kind of comes together. All right, let's take a look at some more of these comments here. Thank you for the super, bro. Slee, where's your coffee? Right here, buddy. Good morning, buddy. Shaq, Kobe, Lakers are one of the best teams of all time. No question about it. No question about it. All right, let's get some more. Let's get some more here. I want some more specifically on this game. The entire Chiefs offensive line needs to be cut. That was embarrassing. Hurts is the worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl since Brad Johnson in 2002. Reminded me of a 2004 NBA Finals loss to the Pistons. Hopefully this is dynasty ending like that one was. I couldn't disagree more with you. Jalen Hurts is an awful quarterback. He's not an awful quarterback. Jalen Hurts controls a game. Jalen Hurts does what you need to do to win. Might not be Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. He doesn't need to be. What would have hurt Jalen Hurts yesterday is if he was single-handedly trying to win them that game. That would have been idiotic. I don't think he's the worst quarterback since 2000. I don't believe that at all. I think he understands how to control a game, not trying to do too much, not trying to take over a game. By the way, you saw that dagger that he threw. Trying to think who he threw it to. Let me look here real quick. I'm trying to think of, was it to Devontae Smith? Maybe it was to A.J. Brown. I forgot who it was to, but just when you thought they were going to just run the ball and run the clock, they went for the kill. They went for the throat. But he rushed for 72 yards, and he threw for 221 with 2 touchdowns and an interception. The interception was stupid. It was a mistake. That's not what he should have done. I thought Jalen Hurts was phenomenal yesterday. I thought he was perfect for what Philly needed. Guys, don't get caught up in individual stats. You're trying to win. It takes a team. It takes a squad. What do you try to do to what do you need to do specifically to get a W? That's all that matters. So BC, I don't agree with you on that one. But that's okay. We could disagree. I like disagreements. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. Thank you very much for the super. I appreciate you, brother. Good day, Slee. Dope live. Thank you, buddy. Thanks. I saw short of Mike Finley taking Luka the Don's beer in the locker room after advancing to the finals. Dallas did not deserve him. Go Lakers. Yeah, that made its rounds. That made its rounds of a moment. Was it Finley? I thought it was Nico. I thought it was Nico Harrison that was taking his beer or something like that. It kind of is what it is. I think the Mavs had their reasoning. The Lakers clearly, I think, was a no-brainer, had their reasoning why they were trying to grab Luka and probably how shocked they were that he was available. Whatever Dallas's reasoning was, they're going to have to live with. But I think sometimes you can create a monster out of a player who's already a monster based on circumstances that happened. You know? If you left your job tomorrow and you got fired, does that not add some fuel to your situation and your predicament? If your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or whatever the case is, dumped you, you can do one of two things. You can whine, bitch, and complain and never get over it. Or you could do that for a little bit, turn the page and be like, all right, let's go to work. I'll give you guys an example, a player that kind of falls into this. Remember how hurt Freddie Freeman was about the Atlanta Braves? And kind of it was lingering. And then eventually it was like, all right, I'm turning the page. I'm going to go do work here for this squad. This is just an example. I'm just giving you an example. Dallas does not deserve him. That front office doesn't deserve him. The fans knew what they had. The organization didn't deserve him because of some of the reasons that we were talking about. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. All right, let's get some more in here. Let me actually, I got another thing I want to do here for the weekend recap real quick. I saw this yesterday. Really, really, unfortunate. Saturday, while the Lakers game was going on, everybody knows the Mavs game was going on as well. This is going to be the first game they're playing in Dallas, the protests, this, that. There was a lot of, by the way, the Nico Harrison death threat. What bullshit. Whoever's that idiotic to be sending this man death threats, just completely idiotic. So let's get that out of the way. I do feel bad for his predicament, his situation. We know that's, fans can be idiots, and whoever's throwing death threats, you're an idiot. Anyways, with that in mind, Dallas is playing their first game. And I was talking about it because by the time I was doing the post-game show after the Lakers-Pacers, there was that game was done, so we can kind of react to it. Actually, on my drive back down to San Diego, I was listening to I had a chance to listen to Jason Kidd post-game. I listened to Anthony Davis post-game, and I just, I kind of get these guys' feelings. AD basically walked away from the game like, I'm fine. He had, AD, if I'm remembering off the top of my head, I could be wrong. I could be off a little bit here. But I think at halftime, Anthony Davis had 25 points, 13 rebounds, and like 5 assists at half, give or take a point or two or assist or two or whatever the case is. But it was something ridiculous like that. I'm like, this dude's about to be a beast in Dallas. Then he leaves the game, abductor strain or something like that. But he said post-game, I was asking people while I was doing my live show, they're like, hey, post-game, he said he's fine. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's fine. Then news came out yesterday. Dallas Mavericks star Anthony Davis, Shams Charania put this out, is expected to miss multiple weeks with a left adductor strain. Sources tell ESPN his absence could stretch to a month. Feel bad for him. Very, very bad for him. Feel very, very bad for Anthony Davis. So, the fact that he is trying to do everything he possibly can to try to help the Dallas Mavericks. I'm sure he feels disrespected. Nobody's talking about this, that, whatever the case is. But, yeah, I feel very, very bad, specifically for Anthony Davis. But that's part of the weekend recap. That's the situation that he's in. That's the situation that they're in. All right, let's keep going here. By the way, that's a weekend recap. I kind of put everything together here, so hopefully that was helpful. And shout out to the Wallace firm as well for being a part of the show. All right, let's now just kind of focus on some of the comments here, and then let's call it a day. See what else we got here. Dodgers will be the next team to three-peat. Could be. Nobody would be surprised if they did. Let's see what else we got here. I love how defensive Dodger fans get. Let me find one of the comments here. What was one of the comments? Let me find that comment here. Somebody said the fact that Slee doesn't mention the Dodgers. Here's it. Slee not naming the Dodgers while listing organizations he respects is wild. Literally the first organization I mentioned. I said we know the Dodgers, but let me go to some of these other teams. Maybe don't have the same resources. Then I said Atlanta. Then I said Tampa Bay, but I started with the Dodgers. Guys, relax. Everybody knows your team they're the team everybody's chasing in all of sports. Everybody knows that. I started with the Dodgers. I literally said the Dodgers first. This was one of those things where they're hoping to hear certain things and they want to hear something, but they're refusing to hear it. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see what we got here. By the way, I love the comments. I want you guys to understand something. I want you guys never to take, if I read your comment or any of that stuff or anything, I welcome all comments. Agree with me, disagree with me. It literally doesn't matter. And if you disagree with me, a lot of the times it makes for kind of a better back and forth conversation. So, but have your reasoning of why you're doing something rather than just out of nowhere. At least believe in what you're saying. Let's put it that way. You guys excited about tonight? I love this. I love this. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. Actually, we don't really have that much left, to be honest with you. So a lot of this is just going to depend on if you guys got some more comments tonight. Lakers and the Utah Jazz. Only 2 games left here before we get to the All-Star break. So this is going to be it. 2 games left before the All-Star break. A chance, this is kind of crazy too, a chance to be 14 games over 500 going into the All-Star break. How wild would that be to think that the Lakers are 14 games? They could be 33-19 going into the All-Star break and probably top 3 or 4, somewhere in that position. So I think it's going to be, obviously phenomenal. The first opportunity to get a chance to see Luka Doncic as a Los Angeles Laker. It's going to be great, man. I really, really can't wait. It's going to be incredibly, incredibly exciting. Obviously some disappointment over the weekend because of the trade that didn't go down, but I still think the Lakers are going to be okay. All right, what'd we hit? $137. Went $137 today. Okay. Back on tonight after the Lakers take on the Utah Jazz. Do me a favor, please. Subscribe to the channel. And if you're thinking about being a member, don't think about it. Be a member. It's $3 a month. I will 100% take care of the members. I'm going to take care of everybody on the channel anyways. But if you are a member, it's $3 a month. And I'll start putting out content just for members. Would love for you to be a member. You're basically buying me 1 cup of coffee a month. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for hanging out as long as you guys did. Thank you to the Wallace firm for being a partner here of the show as well. I will see you guys tonight after the Lakers late game tonight, 7:30 tip. So post game is probably going to start at what time is the post game going to start? 12:30. I might as well do the post game show at 2 a.m. in the morning. Thank you for being a part of the show, everybody. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys tonight. Thank you, guys.